One, two, three, four. Welcome everyone to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for March 28th, 2025. 5, 6, 7, 8. We are on the road to WrestleMania. I hate that Smackdown theme song. It is terrible, but it's not for me. It is what it is. Anyways, Smackdown was in London, England. I watched the show via VPN on Netflix. So much better to watch the show earlier in the day, in my opinion. If you can do it, if you don't have to worry about work, I highly recommend it. Anyways, we kicked off SmackDown with the world champion, Cody Rhodes, coming to the ring. We have a new ring announcer, Mark Nash. I don't know anything about him. He was fine. Sounds like every other announcer. Whatever. Crowd was very much into Cody. They were singing the Cody Rhodes chant. Cody started to talk about John Cena, but then he was interrupted by Randy Orton. Orton came to the ring. Crowd was singing his song. Orton said that Cody had big-ass balls to leave WWE and single-handedly change the industry. Orton reflected on Cody's accomplishments in WWE. Orton specifically brought up Hell in a Cell when Cody beat Seth Rollins with a torn pec. And then, of course, Cody finishing his story at WrestleMania 40. Orton said he was proud of Cody. However, Orton noted that he is coming for his 15th World Championship. Now, before he could say anything else, Drew McIntyre came out there. He called Cody and Orton Nepo babies, and McIntyre told Orton to get in the back of the line when it comes to a championship match. Crowd started needling McIntyre by chanting for CM Punk. McIntyre said that Orton's back was hanging on by a thread, and then a fight broke out. Cody attacked McIntyre, and then Orton went for the RKO, but McIntyre was able to escape. It was a solid opening segment, and as Matthew pointed out, a lot of singing. The singing definitely takes up a lot of time in these promos, but we got a 3-hour show, and the crowd was definitely energetic. All the European crowds have been great. London was no exception. They did announce McIntyre versus Orton on SmackDown, giving it away with no build-up, just right there on SmackDown. They had quite the feud back in 2020 at the peak of the COVID pandemic. We had our first match of the evening, the Street Profits with their terrible music. I wish they had their own music back. Street Profits defending against Pretty Deadly in their home country, wearing Union Jack colors. Solid match here. Pretty Deadly gave it a good effort, but ultimately Profits were not going to lose their first title defense. But Wilson, Prince, they did work together well, and they even hit their finisher, the split milk. However, the pin was broken up. Profits regrouped, and then they picked up the victory, pinning Wilson with the Doomsday Blockbuster. Match was solid. I just wish the Street Profits had their own music. That's all. Now, Ty Arts sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says Rock versus Cena. Winner equals U.S. president. Your thoughts? I'm not sure they have that much pull to make that a stipulation. I think The Rock is more likely to get into politics than John Cena, but you never know. Maybe one day they can have that match and the winner can try to run for office. Not necessarily president of the United States, but maybe governor. If Arnold could do it, maybe one of them could. Thank you for that. Moving on here, we have an announcement from WWE, and I'm happy with this announcement. It was revealed that Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, the submission match from WrestleMania 13, will be the first match to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. An immortal moment, as they called it on the graphic. Both men will also be in attendance for this. I'm fine with the idea. UFC does it. WWE following suit, inducting matches into the Hall of Fame. To me, this is a very deserving first match. If I had to pick a match, I probably would have picked this one. As you guys know, this is arguably my favorite match of all time. I've said it many times over the years. I ranked it as the #1 WrestleMania match of all time. To me, it was a real game changer. Not just a great match as far as being a submission match goes, but the impact it had on WWE, making Steve Austin the ultimate babyface character, putting him on the map. Austin would go on to be the biggest draw in WWE. It would usher in the Attitude Era. This match, you take this match out of WWE history, do we even have an Attitude Era? Who knows? It cemented Steve Austin as the future of the business. And the Attitude Era was WWE's hottest period. I think it's a great first choice. Some would argue maybe Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Some would argue Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, which that was a great match. Any of their matches, Hell in a Cell or WrestleMania 25. But I think this is the right choice for being the first pick. I approve. We had a pre-recorded segment. It looked like it was in a library where Kaden Carter was with Katana Chance and Zelina Vega, and they challenged the Secret Hervis, that's Chelsea Green's group, tag team match challenge was issued. And we had the match, Carter and Chance versus Piper Niven and Alba Fire. First time we've seen Chance and Carter on TV in a while. I forgot they even worked there, to be honest with you guys. They had a pretty good showing, but then you had the interference from Chelsea Green. For some reason, Zelina Vega was not out there to counteract. The outside interference allowed Piper to score the pinfall victory with the Piper driver. And then after the match, Zelina Vega ran down there too little too late. And, well, she got beat up. She could not take them on 3-on-1. Secret Hervis stands tall. This was fine for what it was. Keep building up the group. I like it. Good for them. We had LA Knight. Yeah. Defending the United States Championship against Braun Strowman. LA Knight had a strong start, but then Strowman gained the advantage. And then Strowman went for the Strowman Express, but Jacob Fatu attacked him, causing a disqualification. I feel like this happens every week with these guys. Another DQ, and LA Knight tried to fight Fatu, went for the BFT, but Fatu laid him out with the pop-up Samoan drop, and then Fatu turned his attentions back to Strowman. Multiple hip attacks, and then 2 moonsaults, standing tall over a fallen Braun Strowman. This feud, whatever direction this is going for WrestleMania, continues. Next up, we had a backstage promo with Jimmy Uso. Hyped up Monday's Raw. He's got his match against Gunther. And then we had Jimmy in a little confrontation with The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. And that set up Jimmy versus Miz for later on during SmackDown. We also had a little backstage segment with Solo Sikoa Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. Fatu said he will be the last man standing against Strowman. He's also going to win the United States Championship with or without Solo and Tama Tonga. The plot continues to thicken with that. Are we getting Jacob Fatu versus Solo? Are we getting some sort of a multi-way match for the U.S. title? Guess we'll have to wait and see. We had a Naomi video package where she talked about why she attacked Jade Cargill. She was crying. She had the tear running down her face. She said she was doing the right thing because Jade took her spot, and it wasn't right because Naomi had Bianca Belair's back, and she's tired of being the third wheel. She's tired of being underappreciated, and she warned Jade to stay out of her way, and if Jade decides to do something, she better proceed with caution. And she had the caution tape, very similar to Owen Hart's 1998 attire. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. I like it. Good stuff here. We had Jade Cargill with general manager Nick Aldis, and she warned that she's going to get her hands on Naomi, but then B-Fab and Michin came over and showed their support for Jade. We then had what was supposed to be Michin versus Charlotte Flair. B-Fab was with Michin. Naomi attacked both of them from behind. Jade Cargill ran out there to make the save. And then Jade had to help B-Fab to the back. Charlotte Flair came out there for the match. And we had a little brief stare down between Charlotte and Jade Cargill. Very interesting. We had the match. Charlotte immediately tried to beat Michin, but Michin was able to fight. Crowd was chanting F you, Charlotte, and it was getting censored. It was a competitive match, but then Michin ended up going foot first into the steel steps, and that allowed Charlotte to pick up the win by submission with the figure 8. Match was just basically a filler. Charlotte picks up a win. Michin put up a fight, but yeah, she wasn't going to win here. Emmanuel sent in a $2 super chat, says, not going to lie, the Michin versus Charlotte match made me fall asleep. I didn't think it was bad or anything, but it was very much just time filler as far as I'm concerned. Charlotte picks up another win. She really didn't need it, but it was to get them on TV. I mean, really the most interesting thing about all this was the Jade Cargill and Naomi stuff. We did have a backstage promo from women's champion Tiffany Stratton, and she tried to use last week's promo to her advantage, saying that Charlotte was insecure, not letting a rookie speak, and then she used Charlotte's own words. Tiffany said Charlotte will be losing to a little girl at WrestleMania 41. Promo was all right. Might have taken her several takes, but she got it. It was fine. We then had Randy Orton one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. A rematch from the COVID era of WWE. And thank you, Ian, for the comment. It was a solid match, but very much what you would expect for these guys in a non-PLE match. Randy Orton doing the suplex on the table spot, and it was back and forth for a while. Then Orton went for the RKO after doing his signature moves to build up to it, the draping DDT, so on and so forth. Kevin Owens showed up, and this was a rare, stupid babyface Randy Orton. He got distracted. McIntyre took advantage, hit him with the Claymore, and got the 1-2-3 victory. Clean, I guess, if you don't want to count the presence of Kevin Owens. Owens was just standing out there, didn't actually do anything. McIntyre got the win. I guess this was better than a DQ. I mean, they really shouldn't be doing 2 DQs on one show. Yeah, Orton took the loss here, and then afterwards, Owens attacked Orton. Orton fought back, went for the punt kick, but Owens was able to escape through the crowd. We had a couple video packages. Number one, we had another video package for what appears to be Aleister Black's comeback. And then we had another one last week. Very obvious that it was Rey Fenix, and they officially confirmed it this week. It is, in fact, Rey Fenix with his name. He didn't have to lose the Rey. We got 2 Reys on the main roster. That's how you know Vince McMahon is not around anymore. Rey Fenix is officially in WWE, and he will be debuting next week on SmackDown. And I felt like it would have been great to debut him in Europe, but next week's SmackDown is in Chicago. I mean, that's pretty much the next best place to debut him. I mean, really, you could have done maybe Toronto or New York, but yeah, Chicago is about as good of a place to debut Phoenix. Like, he'll almost certainly get a great reaction in Chicago, and that is on next week's SmackDown. And yes, they did acknowledge on commentary that Phoenix is the brother of Penta. For now, they're on separate brands. We'll see if they reunite at some point. That's always a possibility. Once the singles runs dry up, they can always be put together as a team. There you go. Rey Fenix on SmackDown next week, and I presume we'll be seeing Aleister Black relatively soon. Maybe not until after WrestleMania, but he appears to be on SmackDown as well. We had our match with Jimmy Uso versus The Miz. Basic match here. Miz's enhancement talent at this point. I really don't know what else you do with The Miz at this point. I feel like his career has to be winding down. Like, he's just basically there to put over other guys. He was former WWE champion, but he does feel very stale at this point, and he's really only there as a body. Jimmy Uso very obviously was going to get the win here. Miz did get in some offense, but then he went for this springboard clothesline. Jimmy countered it with the super kick and then picked up the win with the Uso splash. And then afterwards, Jimmy spoke on a headset. He said Gunther is going to go from being a general to a private this coming Monday on Raw. Something tells me that ain't happening. Something tells me Jimmy Uso might be leaving that arena. It's going to be in the same building, London, this Monday. Same arena. The final WWE show of this European tour. And then next Friday, they're back in Chicago. I have a feeling Jimmy's leaving the building in an ambulance. If I had to make a bold prediction, I think that's what they need to do. I mean, Jimmy should get absolutely destroyed by Gunther on Raw. Just saying. We then had Drew McIntyre heading out of the building, and as he opened the door to go to the parking lot, he got jumped by Damian Priest. They fought by this car, and the car owner was upset, so Priest put him through a table and then went back after McIntyre. They fought on top of the car, and then Priest gave McIntyre the South of Heaven choke slam onto the windshield, and then said, "Rest in peace, jackass." This was good. I thought this was a good segment. And then CM Punk walked by for the main event segment, and he just looked over with a little smile on his face. He should have said real glass, but that would have been another reference and people would have been upset about that. But yeah, just to look over at a fallen Drew McIntyre, I liked it. I liked that they did that. Just a little small thing. It was good. Good stuff here. And they're finally heating up this McIntyre and Priest storyline. This was the best thing they've done up to this point to build up the match. All right. Now, let's talk about the final segment of the evening. Nick Aldis hosting the contract signing for Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania. Chat room, let me know what you thought about the segment. Aldis called it the biggest triple threat match in history, which biggest one in the history of WrestleMania, I should say. I mean, to be fair, it might be among the biggest triple threats in the history of the company. Certainly has the potential to be one of the best in WWE history. Star power is there for sure. Roman Reigns came out there with Paul Heyman. Roman sat in his head of the table spot. Crowd was singing Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman even jumped in. This was a great little moment. Reigns signed the contract, and then Seth Rollins came to the ring, talked about their history as the Shield, how they changed WWE, but then Roman Reigns was like, no, I changed WWE. He took credit for it. He said he made the changes, not Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wasn't doing anything. Reigns kept talking trash, taking sole credit, and Rollins said that is why he has to keep screwing over Roman Reigns. And he said once again at WrestleMania, he has to clean up Roman Reigns' mess. And this led to CM Punk making his entrance. Punk, channeling Roddy Piper, the Hot Rod, said that he came there to chew bubblegum and sign a contract, but he was all out of bubblegum. So he looked through the contract. There was something specific he was looking for. Paul Heyman came over to him, said, it's in there, and then told the audience that the triple threat match will be closing WrestleMania. Now, I think this means it's closing night one. Could it potentially be closing night two? I guess we'll see. But either way, CM Punk is officially getting his main event spot at WrestleMania that he's been talking about for years and years. My feeling is Jey Uso versus Gunther is probably opening one of the nights of WrestleMania. That's what I'm thinking here. And Punk was very happy. Seth Rollins, though, was irate. Seth Rollins was furious. He said Punk did not deserve to have a WrestleMania main event, and he blamed it on Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns got on the mic again and said Punk needs to thank him for the WrestleMania main event. Said that he is the reason Punk is getting the spot. Punk did thank Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. However, Punk with the little curveball at the end. You see, we were all thinking, okay, this was the favor. Paul Heyman pulled some strings, got them the main event for WrestleMania. But then Punk said that this wasn't the favor. And then SmackDown cut to black, immediately went off the air. I loved the cliffhanger here. This was perfect. And as far as contract signings go, this was one of the better ones in recent history. Thankfully, there was no pull-apart brawl. Maybe they did one after the show went off the air, which I'm fine with that. Do it off the air. Let the live crowd chant, let them fight, blah, blah, blah. We don't need it on TV. Perfect way to end the show. I was worried they were going to do a pull-apart brawl because of all the security. Here's a good idea from Building Nexus. Building Nexus sent in this $5 super chat. Says, could a title match for the winner anytime, any place be the favor? I think it should. I definitely think it should be a title match. I think that the winner, this is me personally saying this, I think the winner should get the Raw After Mania shot. Now that Punk has his WrestleMania main event, winner gets a title match Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania. That's what I would do, because I think that the Raw after Mania really needs to be a big deal again. It used to be something special, and it hasn't felt that way in years. This is how you do it. It's one of your most watched shows of the year. People tune in after WrestleMania, but then they quickly tune out. Like, you want to give them something significant. Mr. Tito says no, winner gets Backlash. It's probably going to be Randy Orton getting a title match at Backlash. You got to build up to that. So I say do it for the Raw after WrestleMania. You already got Randy Orton in a likely title match for Backlash. That can be your selling point for Backlash. Building Nexus sent in another $2. Thank you, Building Nexus. Says, actually thinking a Money in the Bank-like situation. Well, the thing is, if you do that, then Money in the Bank doesn't feel as important. Like, Money in the Bank is something special. I would just say it's a title match at such and such date, whether it's Raw or Backlash or later this year. I definitely would like to see something on the line that's CM Punk's favor. We'll see what they come up with, but I was definitely a fan of this. And Mr. Tito says, what did Orton do to earn that? Well, it's a little early to do predictions, but I have a feeling that Orton's going to win at WrestleMania. He beats Kevin Owens, and I think that puts him in line for a title match. Plus, he's Randy Orton. You know how WWE works. Orton can pretty much get a title match any place, anytime. He's Randy Orton. All in all, this was a very good SmackDown. Better than most of the recent weeks. Definitely the best one of this European string of shows. I thought it was a very good SmackDown. A few filler segments here and there, but all in all, strong closing segment. WrestleMania feels a little bit exciting now. I thought they did a really good job with the main event segment. I liked the Damian Priest stuff with Drew McIntyre. So very good show overall. I give it 7 out of 10 points this week. Very good SmackDown. I wouldn't say it's a high recommendation if you haven't watched it, but I think it's a pretty solid recommendation. If anything, definitely check out the contract signing segment. That was really good. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the recap. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. I'm going to miss the earlier streams. Next week, it's back to late night, 11 o'clock Eastern streams for SmackDown. Next week should be a great show, though. It's going to be in Chicago. Phoenix debuts. I'll be right back here Friday night to discuss SmackDown as we get very close to WrestleMania. Things should definitely be heating up next week and as we get closer. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I might be doing another No DQ&A video very soon, maybe Sunday night. Nothing is 100%, but stay tuned to my social media accounts at Aaron Rift and, of course, at NoDQ.DOTCOM. Stay tuned, and, of course, Monday night, Raw recap. It's going to be the last European show, so it will be earlier than usual. Around 5:30 Eastern time will be the recap. Check that out this Monday. Stay safe out there. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.